Good afternoon, Pool Player Nation. Welcome to Orlando, Florida for continuing coverage of the 2024 U.S. Amateur Championship presented by APA. Our coverage brought to you by our friends at PoolDog.com. I'm your host, Jason Bowman. My partner here, Double J, Jeremy Jones. Jeremy, big upset there in the first round. Could we see another here in the second round?
Well, at least what we think may be an upset. Who knows with Yen Huynh in the next round? But Jessica, of course, our runner-up last year, she just witnessed what just happened, so she wants to take care of business.
Absolutely. So the Women's U.S. Amateur Championship comprised of 41 of the top amateur players from across North America. Before we meet our participants in this match, let's take a look at the U.S. Amateur Championship format. In the women's division, it is a double elimination. Each match a race to 5, 3 games of 8-ball up to 6 games of 9-ball. The winner of the lag can opt to choose either the format or the break. And now we'll meet the two women that will be competing here in our second round match. We've got, as Jeremy mentioned, from Santa Ana, California, Yen Huynh, and from Catskill, New York, last year's runner-up, Rachel Lang. Now, the ladies are ready to get things started. Let's take you down into the pit for the beginning of the second round match here in this year's Women's U.S. Amateur Championship. Ladies shake hands before the lag. Very, very close, but it looks like Yen will win the lag.
Yeah, 2 very good lags from both players. Looks like it's going to be Jessica to break first.
Rachel.
Excuse me. I don't know why I said Jessica. Excuse me. Rachel to break first, and Yen choosing 8-ball as our first discipline in this 2-discipline format.
Back-to-back matches where we've seen the winner of the lag defer on the break and instead choose the format, which is very interesting because I feel like more times than not, they do typically start in the 8-ball format anyway. I don't know that I would say that necessarily cost Stacy Bourbeau in the first round, but she was a bit of an upset there, losing to Shauna. Stacy will move through the one-loss side of the bracket. As I peek over at table 6, Shauna already back in action over there. So, meanwhile, we're just waiting on the break here. Rachel Lang. Quite a few dry breaks in that first round. See if they can get things figured out here. Powerful break there by Rachel Lang. Pockets the 9. Unfortunately, also scratches in the top corner there. Yeah. Table will remain open.
Usually when you get those scratches up the table like that, it wasn't really that bad of a break off. Really square hit. Just maybe got too much energy into the cue ball, and it kind of came back on that same path to the upper corner. Yen Huynh has won a match already and into the second round where
Rachel did have a bye in the first round, so this is her first real action here in the tournament.
Nice to come off a win, though. It's always nice to get that bye, but they always say if you can get through that first match and get that W, it's worth a little more than the bye. Getting some time at the table, figuring yourself out, figuring the tables out. All right, pretty nice aggressive strokes so far. Gotta like what you've seen or what I've seen.
Yen has been playing pool for roughly 20 years.
Really attacking there. Again, love seeing it.
Rachel Lang now at the table. Again, Rachel is out of Catskill, New York. Very strong showing last year.
Yeah, and last year, I think after watching several days of Rachel playing and went as deep as just about anyone except for the one that won it, of course, but she really excelled at the 9-ball side of things. So 8-ball, again, a game that takes a little more experience with patterns and decisions. Probably look for her to be a bit better in that department this year, even though she wasn't bad by any means, but you could see that 9-ball was more of her specialty.
You know, as I go back and look at last year, I think we're actually incorrect. Rachel was not the runner-up last year. I think we may be thinking back, yeah. We're thinking back to 2022.
Okay.
So last year was Crystal DePelsmaker that she
yeah.
defeated. Of course, Rachel was in last year, but runner-up 2022. The years all start to blend together when we get to these older years, Jeremy. We were just talking about it.
Yeah, we'll just blame everything on pandemic. We're both still young.
Yeah.
Really nice shot there, being able to hold off the 14 for the 5 and can open up the run here in game number 1. Like a lot about her technique, I'll tell you. Very loose with the backhand and kind of like her opponent, also kind of very athletic at the table. All right, kind of picking apart, trying to get at that 1 and 6. That's the real issues, the 7s across the table. So definitely a lot of work still left. Nice self-touch there, holding for the 6. No reason to pass on it. Now here with options, don't worry about the cue ball so much. Go ahead and let it do what it wants to do. Maybe come across for the 7 now. And that's more what I was talking about with the 9-ball, really being able to knock balls in and move the cue ball. 8-ball really gains a lot of experience and helps the brain, but 9-ball really is a great skill-building game just because you have to move the cue ball so much. So the combination of both, they really complement each other. So a little draw stroke here, not a whole lot. Oh, she got too much on it. Not saying it's going to be a big issue, but now has to track the cue ball off the 3 to get to the 4. We saw that in the first match, though, a little bit much at times. The slick felt, the newer felt. The players will become more accustomed as it goes on, and the table will break in a bit more also.
Rachel has multiple 9th place finishes here at the U.S. Amateur Championship. She's finished in 5th place, and again, we mentioned runner-up in 2022, which was the year she sent Stacy Bourbeau, the eventual champ, to the 1-loss bracket. Stacy came back to defeat her in the championship match. So, pretty impressive resume for Rachel here at the U.S. Amateur Championship over the years for such a young player.
Well, I think she competes quite a bit after, hearing some interviews and talking just a little bit with her last year. Plays a lot of pool. Just hold the ball here, take a little more shot on the 8.
(2019) Super Billiards Women's Amateur Expo champ.
Yeah, and that's a field that has quite a few players usually. I'm sure she'll be playing that again. That's usually around March or April, depending on the dates. And a really nice clearance there.
Pockets that 8-ball and takes a 1-0 lead in this race to 5. She will have the break when we return in just a moment. And we are back here at the Hyatt Regency Orlando, continuing coverage of this year's women's division of the U.S. Amateur Championship. Yen Huynh finishing up the rack. Rachel Lang preparing to break, looking to extend her lead. Second game of the 8-ball set. Saw a very powerful break in that first rack. Although she did scratch, so we'll see if she makes any adjustments here.
Yeah, well,
no adjustment. Let it fly. Almost scratched in the same corner. No ball pocketed, though, on the break there.
It generates a lot of power, though.
She sure does.
Really an accurate strike on the cue ball. That you can swing the cue as hard as you want, but if you don't hit the cue ball accurately, you're not going to have much power. So a combination of both there from Rachel.
Now Yen Huynh out of Santa Ana, California, back at the table. I thought this was interesting in her bio. Yen said she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer in April of 2022. Feels very connected to Jeanette Lee, who obviously has her own personal battle with cancer. But cited Jeanette has always been a role model for her pool journey. Yen has certainly made quite the comeback. Finished 9th last year.
Yeah, just got a message from an old friend, Brooke, that's I guess really good friends with Yen, and says she's just a great person and good to see her and get to sweat her here on the main table.
Nice.
Yeah. Brooke, whose family owned a legendary pool room there in the L.A. area, Hard Times Billiards.
Oh, yeah.
One that'll go down in the history books.
Hard Times not around anymore?
The one in Bellflower isn't.
Okay.
No, the one in L.A. isn't. Of course, another great player, Oscar Dominguez, owns the one in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But the original was the one there in Bellflower, L.A., and so many pool stories come from that place. But another one here in game number 2, Yen trying to make a nice out.
So I'll put you on the spot real quick since you mentioned Oscar Dominguez, and we mentioned in the last match the upcoming Moscone Cup here in Orlando. What'd you think about the captain's pick, Billy over Oscar?
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all.
Probably a little relieved you didn't have to make that decision this year,
Yeah,
right?
It would have been tough. There were pros and cons to both. What I always like to see, especially without a huge sample size, those guys, neither one of them have played 10 times or something like that, right? But kind of ignore what they did in the past a little bit, because it's easy to look at any player in the Moscone and say, he's dogged it or he's not played his best. It's a hard format to play well in. It's not easy. So I would have just looked at how do I personally feel they're going to play this year? Mm-hmm. Just like a few years ago, whenever I picked Chris Reinhold, I didn't go with what everyone else has done in the past. I just kind of felt like he would play well, and he did. He did play pretty well, and that's where I think both picks were real good. I think either one pick this year was going to be okay, and I think either one are going to perform, and it's going to be Billy, obviously, but I don't think there was a right or wrong there. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be just Mr. Democrat, but
be a little bit different perspective this year on the Moscone Cup. You'll be more spectator than captain. I'm sure you'll be rooting Team USA on nonetheless, though. And maybe their best chance. I mean, you've got Federer playing. He's probably the best player in the world right now. Yeah. Obviously, Josh Filler has been withdrawn from Team Europe side. So we will see if we can turn our luck around. It's hard to believe it's been, 5 years now since the last time we brought the cup home.
Lost 4 in a row.
Years fly.
Yeah, and it's I really like their chances, even with Filler on Team Europe. Myself, I like the USA's chances this year, and I think Federer will play better. He played well after day 1 last year. I think Shane obviously has to have a better cup, meaning he will have a better cup than he did last year, and I think those other components are going to play big.
Meanwhile, Rachel Lang.
Along with the U.S. fans, by the way.
Yeah, that helps, right?
Yeah, it
That
doesn't
helps.
hurt. But, yeah, I'll have some red, white, and blue socks on or something. I don't know exactly what I'm allowed to wear there, but doing the commentary. But all right, all business here for Rachel, though. And this is where I was talking about before. Last year, the patterns got a little bit off at times. And, of course, 8-ball's a very vast game, so it takes years of experience really to master it, if you can master it. And already the patterns look better. Okay, so what she's looking at, she got a little oddly straight here on the 11, maybe a hair off angle, and worried about getting a little thin on the 15, so she may have to take a little more of a shot from distance. All right, she's going to go with a high ball, so maybe work the cue ball off the side rail. No, she decided just play it easy. And that's another smart play. Instead of elevating, trying to hold the cue ball a little closer to where the 11 was, make sure you're not missing that 11, and just take a little more of a shot on the 15. What happens when you kind of do that and accept it, you just kind of become better as a whole, knowing you can handle it. Now, what looks odd to me is position on the 8. Just got to be careful. And we'll see how she cues the ball, if she decides to run forward off the 15 or some type of draw stroke. Okay, she's going with a high ball. Easy to overcut the ball, it seems like, on the slick felt. Talk about it all the time, at the Moscone, believe it or not.
Yen Huynh back to the table now. Looking to even this match up at a rack apiece. This race to 5.
Little short of her mark there. Don't know if that's really going to affect much on position. I think she can handle pocketing the 7. May end up on top of the 6 somewhat here. That's what she's trying to decide, really, the cue ball route. And she's going to bump the 6. Again, you got to love it. Another player not afraid to let the stroke go a little bit. All right, she's got a pretty easy safety here. She could just bump the 6 and kind of double kiss it or just lay it over that pocket. She's going to attack instead. So the cut must be there. She just caught it a hair heavy. So you can see the 8 doesn't play with the 6 ball there, so she has to go forward here from distance. Not an easy shot to try and play the 8 in the right side pocket. Yeah, confident stroke. Kind of open the pocket up a little bit. And again, these side pockets on the diamond's not easy, so can't take this one for granted.
Rachel pockets the 8 in the side pocket, takes a 2-0 lead in this race to 5, and she will have her third break of the match when we return here in just a few moments.
way. He did it. He did it. Holy smokes, what a shot.
The 2 defeats the 9. David has beaten Goliath. All right, we are back here. Continuing coverage of the women's division, this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. Rachel Lang has opened up a 2-0 lead. This will be the final rack of the 8-ball set. Another powerful break there for Rachel.
Yeah, she's made a stripe, I believe. 5 stripes here on the lower end, along with 1 stripe up the table. So you'd love to, knock in this 11, I think, to start. I think that's about all you have. And get on the 13 as quick as possible. And just kind of take care of that ball and then just work the rest of the rack here on the bottom end. Does have to deal with a 9 ball, but with so many stripes near, usually you can kind of manufacture something. Did she hold for the 9 right now? That would be awesome. I think she did. I think she can avoid the blue 2 with a little draw stroke. Maybe just bumps the 2 away. Yeah, overdrew that a bit. I don't know if she can get at the 15. I think that would be ideal. Now, the one thing is you got to pay attention to where the 14 is being moved. Because if she shoots the 15, the 14's got to be relocated somewhere. She's already hit a few easy ones, so the soft side not hard for her. I don't think she can really direct the cue ball super accurately here. I think she's just got to come across, hopefully avoiding the scratch after cutting the 12 in and just trying to lay on the 14 and kind of work from there. Watch out, side pocket. She dodged that nicely. She's going to get a pocket for the 14. I think it does go between the 7-5 up into the corner. It's tight. I don't think she's looked at it yet. Now she's looking at the side. I don't think she realizes it does squeeze between the 7-5. All right, she's going to take on the 13. Needs a little bit of side spin to kind of check the cue ball. Otherwise, she could get behind the 7-5. Maybe she goes into the 4 here. Oh, great stroke. She put a bit more speed. She wants to try and kick this in or have a chance to kick it in to make it. That's why she's looking at some kick 2 rails between the 2 and 3. She could kick across 1 cushion just off the side going between the 6 and 4 and just kind of make contact on the 14. Doesn't have much of a chance of making anything that way though. Yeah, she's going to try and tie some balls up. Surrendering ball in hand. And what you're doing there is you're just trying to lengthen the game. You know, it's kind of like if you're behind in football or anything, you're always trying to lengthen it. See if you can give yourself more time to maybe have a chance to steal game 3.
And remember, Yen won the lag, opted for the 8-ball set first. Currently trailing 2-0.
Nice breakout there. And she's had a, game number 1, she opened with a chance, ran some balls, got kind of stuck. It's game 2, she had a little bit of a chance, but really Rachel played a nice 2 opening games. Now again, you don't have to run out, right? You can always play a tidy safety, so you can knock this 6 in and then maybe play something safe behind the 1-5-7. You always want to run out. That's just the feeling you want. And, of course, that's what makes you better. But in tournament play, sometimes you got to pull back on the reins.
If you're looking for a bracket for this year's U.S. Amateur Championship Women's Division or the Open Division, it can be found at CompuSport, CompuSport.us. I know we put that out there on the APA Facebook page yesterday. You can find a link there. You can search CompuSport. You can also download their app. It'll allow you to follow your favorite player here in Orlando. Mentioned earlier, 41 of the top amateur ladies from across North America here at the Hyatt Regency competing. Could this be the year that Rachel Lang wins her first U.S. Amateur Championship title? Been close before.
Difficult 8-ball. She wanted better position, but she's overcut it. So now a chance.
See if Yen can pick up one game in this 8-ball set before they move to 9-ball. Would love to have that break in that first 9-ball rack, no doubt.
Man, looking the way she kind of handles herself at the table, at 9 balls, a pretty okay one for her also. I mean, looks very capable, moves the cue ball easily. All right, the 8's over the side, so can't afford any misses.
And she drops that 8-ball in the side pocket, takes a commanding 3-0 lead at the end of the 8-ball set. She will have the break when we return here in just a few moments.
I can't believe it. You did it. We're going to Vegas. Oh my.
And we are back here in Orlando, continuing coverage of the women's division of the 2024 U.S. Amateur Championship. Now in the 9-ball set, Rachel Lang. Man, she's got a Powerful break, Jeremy.
Yeah, she smashes them. I'm a little jealous, to be honest with you. But
You're not the only one.
yes, I mean, just real square hit, too. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of us can rear up and swing at it pretty hard, but then the accuracy starts to diminish. And
Nice layout if she can get to the one.
Yeah, she can get to a little piece of it. What she's trying to look at is she'd like a little right English to kind of open up and get on the two for the side. I don't know if that's available. Okay, she just took what she could get, and she's okay. Just got a draw stroke here. You can come out just a foot or so maybe and take a cut shot, or you could try and get a little closer. It's just got to go a little bit.
Want to make sure I mention all of our sponsors. Got Action Cues, Aramith balls on all the tables here at the U.S. Amateur Championship. Of course, diamond tables, all 9-foot diamonds. And our good friends at PoolDog.com, the presenting sponsor of all of our coverage here this week in Orlando. Appreciate all their support. As we come up on the holiday season, keep those folks in mind as you shop for the pool player in your life. Appreciate all their support.
Good effort there. Didn't get the snooker, but a nice hit on the three. Yeah, it seems like Christmas lights are out already.
Yeah, they got the tree up here at the Hyatt in Orlando.
Yeah,
Big old Christmas tree there.
I was just in New York and right before here, and there were quite a few lights up in the streets. Always awesome to see. See Rachel kind of swinging the arm, trying to figure out what went wrong there. Kind of just processing.
See if Yen can take advantage.
And she has really nice cueing, right? I mean, knocked in a lot of balls in this match. Just hasn't gotten one complete yet as far as the game. Yeah, just like there. So
Nice.
That shows you how capable. And
Yeah. No, she's got a couple ninth place finishes here, so
Yeah.
she's certainly very accomplished. A good early round match between these two.
Yeah, resetting there, something she didn't like, so real smart to start over. Like most we've seen here so far on the main table, not afraid to put a little speed on the shots. Cue ball, watch out. Okay, I think there may be just enough 6-ball to make this pocketable. Maybe not. Pretty attached to the 9, and sometimes these can fool you when you're looking at them. Yeah, I think this tells us it's definitely a makeable shot, I think. Of course, she's at the table, so they see it best. The safety's kind of odd just because the 8's there in the way of kind of moving the 6 across and going up table with the cue ball. She may go for the bank here. Be a nice shot to see go in. And she wanted the cue ball to track past the 9, going up table Maybe getting the snooker behind the 9, but definitely giving more distance between the cue ball and the 6. The right-hander here should be able to reach it no problem. All right, pretty nice effort there. A little long and straight here on the 8. Doesn't need a whole lot to have the 9 in the side.
Yen pockets that 9 on the side. She is on the board. Still trails by 2 racks, but she will have the break when we return here in just a moment.
This one is using actually 10 balls. So what exactly is a tangent? There's, in my opinion, 3 types of bridge. The closed bridge, the open bridge, and the rail bridge. We're gonna start with the closed bridge. Now if you practice this, it's really gonna help you to go from a 2 to a 3. In this episode today, we're gonna cover how to go from a 3 to a 4. Let's get into it. The more you're gonna do it, see, as you can see, I touch sometimes a little bit of it. And 8, right? So to technically have 8 zones for 10 balls, so you have a little bit room to spare. I really hope this was useful, and I cannot wait to see you for another video. Later, everybody.
And we are back with continuing coverage of the women's division of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. Yen Huynh at the table. Her first break of the match.
And she got a ball down. Looked like the wing ball fell. I think she's got a pocket in the side, maybe playing the 1 off the 8. Pretty big pocket, I think, anyways. I think there is some kind of action there. I think the 7's got the corner covered up. Could make the 8, maybe, if not the 1. Yeah, that's the little kiss shot I was thinking of. Oh, great stroke there. Now maybe just loosening up after getting a, 1 frame on her side and in this match. Yeah, just really confident. Stroke smoothing out a bit as well. Break and run would go a long ways. All right, she's going to get a little stretched here. So it may be the bridge coming out. Kind of over a couple balls also. Maybe the extension on the back of the cue is enough. Now she's going to go for the bridge.
Yen wanted to give a shout out to her husband, Robert, who taught her the game of pool, and all of her friends at VIP Billiards back in Rowland Heights, California, and her teammates in the San Gabriel Valley APA. So a lot of folks supporting her back in California. She tries to pull within 1 rack in the second round match of the women's division of the U.S. Amateur Championship.
Yeah, Yen has shown us her skills so far in this match, but none more than in this frame number 5. Trying to get a break and run. She going to bump the 8 a little here? Okay. Is she going to produce something? Yes, she is. So what should be our first break and run here
Of the
of the tournament.
Of the first 2 rounds, yeah. A very impressive rack there for Yen Huynh as she pulls within 1 game, and she will have the break once again when we return just a moment. See if Jonathan can make some magic happen somehow.
She made it. She made it. And there's an unbelievable chance here for a team that was downhill 0. Never over till it's over, people.
True.
What a comeback by these two. Holy moly, people.
And we are back here at the Hyatt Regency in Orlando. Yen Huynh, who just had a very nice break and run to pull within 1 rack of Rachel Lang. We'll have the break once again, looking to even this match up. Keep an eye on that 9 ball. It went nowhere.
Well, with the template, you're not going to get
No.
near as much movement on the 9. But
Did pocket a couple balls on the break.
yeah, and really, a tough 1 ball because she's got to ease it to hold for the 4. But past that, could be back-to-back breaking runs. These sit nice. Just got to, like I said, ease this ball in, take a little more of a shot on the 4. The 5's over the side. Oh, yeah, really good. Going to be a little stretched here. She's been really good with the bridge so far. She made 2 of them in the last rack. But talking about applying the pressure kind of from nowhere, right? Rachel had to be feeling really good about winning all 3 games after Yen chose the 8 ball.
That's what's kind of remarkable here.
Yeah. And now maybe a big turn of events here on the 9 ball side of things. Oh, that ball kicked a little bit. And what happens with the bridge, you kind of hit downward on the ball a little more, and you create a little more grab at contact between the cue ball and object ball just because of hitting down on it. Can't explain exactly why that is. Just see it all the time. And that'll be one that baffles you because, she feels like she's probably hit the ball where she wanted, but it just didn't react like she expected.
Yeah. With this layout, that could be costly here. Rachel was chomping at the bit to get back to the table. Cannot give her much opportunity.
And a very experienced young lady that's going to recognize that I have a match on my hands here and an opponent that can handle herself real well. Kind of surveying the options because she's near the rail. Does she want to kind of ease this in? Does she want to go a little more forward for the angle on the 7? Got a little off angle here. You can see she's not too happy about it. But don't overstress. 8's very available, and you're a very, very good player. So just kind of simplify things from here and accept a shot on the 8. Pool and sports in general is just such a mental game. She's not happy where she's at now, but just in case Yen had missed a ball and left her here, she would be ecstatic. So, but since she left herself here, it changes a little bit.
Yep. Perspective is everything.
Yeah. Pure stroke there on the 7, though. Cheated the pocket a hair, kept the cue ball off the cushion. Table's playing pretty fast, and she's got a lot of power. Rachel does, so she's just kind of draw this and ease it back for the 9. She gets into this a lot. Could go past the 9, leaving something very difficult. A little shy, but should be okay. Still like the way she went about it, though. You have to make a little more of a shot on the 9. It's not the end of the world.
Grab an extender.
That's a blingy case she has, huh?
Yep. Tough to lose that one.
Oh.
Extends the length of that cue for the shot on the 9. Would put her on the hill if she pockets this ball. Nice cut. Pockets that 9, and she is now on the hill. Needs just one more rack to win this match. She will have the break when we return here in just a moment. All right, we are back. Continuing coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship Women's Division. Rachel Lang with a powerful break. See if she can get that 9 ball moving. No such luck, but she does pocket a ball on the break. Not great positioning for the 1, but
Probably a push out here. Tell you what, though, of course, these are two solid players, but even if, still have been very few mistakes. You know, early in the tournament, you can get a few more mistakes, it seems like, even from the higher quality players, but this match has been super solid from both. So, just in case you're new to 9 ball, the push out, that is something you have to declare, and it's only after the break. If the breaker makes a ball or on a dry break from the incoming player, they have one option only after the break to declare a push out.
Look at that.
Bank here.
Very nicely done.
And then the incoming player has the option to either take the shot or pass it back to the person who did declare and played the push out.
In terms of APA, that is somewhat unique, used here only at the U.S. Amateur Championship and in the Masters format.
Well, I'm right down the line here, and she can get at this, but it is tight. It's always one of the best pictures, it seems like, when they're down there trying to see if a ball goes, kind of getting that look. The thing is, she's got to kind of ease it, I think, maybe to hold position. Okay, she said, heck with position. I need to make sure I make this ball, and that's probably really smart. All right, if you kind of knock the 3 down table, you got to watch out for the 9 because it's not easy to guarantee a snooker, so you could leave a combination or some type of kiss shot on the early winner on the 9, so... This is I think her gut instinct was kind of telling her the same. Be careful here. Yeah, she decided to play the cue ball down here. Very smart, keeping the 3 away from that 9. Even though she let her see it, still very demanding shot. these high-quality matches early, I tell you, it gets you in that game mode. Gets you in a feeling of what not making mistakes feels like, and that can really serve a lot of purpose moving forward for both these ladies. I think she's attacking. Good effort.
Rachel fails to pocket that 3. New life now for Yen. Gonna have to navigate that 8 ball though.
Yeah, it may have gotten in the ball game just enough to keep her off the offensive shot. She may be able to subtly kind of like swerve it a little bit, but maybe not gain much position. Oh, okay. She decided to just play the all-in-all safety. May go after this bank to the upper right corner. Trying to hold the cue ball there, not only for position, but if you miss it, leave it something long. The safety to me looks just as difficult. May see her elevate the cue a little bit, try and stop the ball on the bank shot. Yeah, she's hitting down on it a little bit anyways. I think that's as good as anything. I mean, you're going to make Yen really have to come with a long one and also draw some type of position on the purple 4 down here on the bottom end.
Another shot at the 3 ball for Rachel. Pesky 3 ball. They've been chasing around the table now.
Yeah, I don't know if she can really attack this. I think it is cuttable. You can certainly bank it, but all about position on the 4. So she decided to play the safety, trying to bring the cue ball behind the 8. Pretty good touch, just missing her mark maybe by an inch or so. Yeah. Rachel, she wants to end it now in this game. After the break and run, of course, you saw it could have been another break and run.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't want Yen to get back to the breaking end of things. A lot more left here in rack number 7. Beautiful touch there, just using the 7 as the snookering ball. That's not easy from some distance. And a shot that a lot of players stay away from just because if you give up a shot, you feel a little foolish at times. Beautiful hit. Unlucky.
Scratches in the corner, though.
Watch out, 3-9.
That might be it, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's a bit unlucky, I'll tell you. She's played a little unlucky on a few shots, really.
Chance for Rachel to close out this match. She can pocket the 3-9 combo in the corner. Looks like a very makeable shot.
Yeah, I like her chances. And, again, Yen Yen Huynh needs to just say, hey, I'm playing well. Let me just move on the one-loss side.
And there you have it, folks. Rachel Lang pockets that 9 in the corner. She will advance the winner's bracket. Yen Huynh will advance through the one-loss side of the bracket. And we will be back in just a few minutes with continuing coverage of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship.